to our featured guest for this evening. I went through his Instagram page and I'm going, what the hell is this? This is some crazy stuff. So I'm looking forward to understanding Mitchel Spain. How do you do what you do? Mitchel Spain Ceramics. Do I have that right? Yes, Mitchel Spain Ceramics out of Des Moines, Iowa. So before we get to that, what you do, you're in Des Moines, dude. Do you know, I literally started this show. People ask me, well, not this show, but the Tiki Trail in general. They're like, well, why are you doing Tiki Trail? What's it about? And I said, at the time I lived in Southern California. I said, yeah, we've got marketplaces we throw a stone and we hit 5 marketplaces. We'll hit 10 Tiki bars. We have so much here. And I would always say, but what does that guy in Des Moines, Iowa do when they're into Tiki? They don't get to see this. So I'm going to bring Tiki to them. And literally Des Moines, Iowa I don't know why, it was just always my, and now here we are. The guy that's into Tiki in Des Moines, Iowa, we have him on the show.
Probably because we're about as far from any ocean as you can get in the United States. It's like we're almost dead center. It's like it's right in the middle. So
yeah, you are rather landlocked to say the least. So you have got some amazing art, and I would love to learn more. Do you have some things that you can show on the camera tonight for our guests, so we can at least get perspective, and then I want to ask you questions.
Yeah, for sure. So I am from actually just south of Des Moines, Norwalk, Iowa. It's a suburb, and I live in the country on my family's farm, and my kids are 5th generation to live on this land and in this house. So wow. There is a rich history of rusty farm equipment and piles of junk and a lot of things from like Great Depression era mentality of save everything so you can save a penny down the road. Right. And so growing up, I had that aesthetic, and my dad is an artist as well and used a lot of that rusty farm equipment to make art or furniture or things like that. And so I got into ceramics and a little bit in high school and then mainly in college, and I ended up getting my master's in fine arts in ceramics. And the aesthetic that I chose is, no surprise, is rusty cans and rusty things. And so I created a process to make threaded ceramics, and I make threaded flasks that have a threaded cap with a little silicone seal and porcelain threaded the neck as well. So that's where I started, kind of making these rusty cans. And
that is ceramic. What you're holding is ceramic, not tin.
Yeah, this is ceramic. It's all clay. And then the cap and the neck is clay too. So, and they seal pretty well with that little, completely well with that little silicone seal. But and they're fairly durable. You'd think it's clay, but I take them skiing and biking and to the beach, golfing, anything you can take them. So
really, yeah, I would figure that they would break. Especially skiing. If I were to ski, I'd fall down a lot. So I would just figure I would break it.
No, they're pretty durable. I mean, like this is a mug, and I use like I made a handle that looks like a church key can opener, and so it just looks like a rusty old beer can, but they're durable. Just like a normal coffee mug or like your plate and your any plate or anything like that. So. Pretty durable. So that's kind of where I started, and mainly what I do for most of my work is just rusty looking cans and bottles and things like that. And then my first foray into the Tiki world was this label here. It says a Tiki torch fuel, and this is based on an actual can. I'm sure many of you have seen. So that was like my first interested in that realm, and I got interested in it because in ceramics, there's like this connection between ceramics and tiki, because a lot of tiki mugs are made out of clay. And so there's this like two separate worlds, but there's connections in between slightly. And one of the connections I made was Henrik Van Ryzen and Denise with Van Tiki. And so we become pretty good Instagram friends, and he's got me interested in it. Just him posting everything. And so he's kind of who got me interested in the whole world of tiki. So,
well, and I saw one of them. You even have shot glasses. I saw a couple of you had a old Kodak film canister shot glass and an ever-ready battery shot glass. I mean, that's just absolutely incredible. I was blown away when I saw that. So what's the process to do that? I mean, you've got a couple different things I want to understand the process. One, obviously, that whole screw top thing. How do you make that? But the other one is the label that you have on the, well, I'm calling it a label. I don't know what you do, but that outside that makes it look like a can. Is that painting? Are you painting that? Are you doing a label? What's your process?
So that's a ceramic decal.
Okay.
So ceramic decal, it's basically like a big printer. It's like a normal like office size printer. And it has been modified to print like ceramic glaze, basically powder. And it prints it onto a water slide paper, and then you laminate it with like a flux cover coat, and then that slides off. And all this is on my Instagram too, at Mitchel Spain Ceramics. I post a lot of my process on there, kind of how I do everything. But so those printers they've been around a really long time, but within the last 10 years or so, they've kind of come down in price. The technology has been more available to smaller businesses like me. But so it prints off, and then it's a water slide decal, so it slides on and then it actually fires on. And so it's essentially printed glaze. It's fired on. It's 100% permanent, like UV, everything. You could leave it out in the sun for 1,000 years and it's going to look exactly like this. But yeah, it's a really cool process, and it kind of opened up everything for what my work is. And undergrad is when my school, University of Iowa, got a decal printer. And so I was making more wooden things like that look like out of clay that look like wood. And when they said, hey, we're getting this thing, it's a decal printer and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, so I can make like a metal can. And so that's when I first started making the metal can. And then tying that into the threaded is I was making these metal like spice cans, like ginger and all these old like McCormick spice cans. And to seal it, I was just sticking a cork in, because that's what everyone in ceramics does. They just stick a cork in the flask or whatever, the bottle you're making.
I think that's where the phrase "stick a cork in it" came from, was the ceramic.
Yeah, I was like, I have this really cool rusty flask, and it doesn't look very good to have this cork sticking out of it. I just don't like that. And so I asked some of the like MFA students, upper level students, and I asked some professors, and they were like, no, you can't really make ceramics thread. It just doesn't work very well because it warps and it shrinks, and it's hard to get the threads perfect. And I was like, okay. And I just didn't really think of it. And then when I got to grad school, I was like, I'm going to figure this out. Like, I feel like I can do this. And so I just like started trying to research everything I could find. I couldn't find hardly anything on threaded ceramics. And so I was sitting there thinking, and it like came to my mind, and I tried to write it down. And I forgot, like I couldn't actualize it on paper, what I had in my mind. And then finally I did, and I drew it, and I was like, that's it. And so basically it's like a slip casting process, which is how I make most of my work. I do slip casting. And I wrote a book on it. And so that's on my website too, on kind of how to do that and that whole process. So yeah, it's been kind of a wild ride.
And you should patent that process that you do that with, since you're the one that came up with it.
Yeah, a lot of people say that, and I did look into like Google patent search, and there was something about like threaded glass or ceramic, and it does exist like in industry, like a little bit different from what I do. Like a light socket is threaded on the inside, but the light bulb is metal, so it's not like ceramic on ceramic. But
Right.
I don't think it was worth it, like patenting that, and so I just wanted to write a book about it, at least so I was it for my specific way of doing it. At least I had my name attached to it.
So you're the Nikola Tesla of threaded ceramics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tesla
Yeah,
never gets patented his stuff either. He's kind of out there. Yeah. So yeah, because I mean, you know, I'm not very experienced at ceramics, not at all. Certainly not like what you are. But I've worked with artists on a couple of different mugs. And one thing I learned is it's not an exact science. It's not going to come out specific to, you know, the specs that you may lay out. You're going to get variants. But you have so with the way you're doing this, you're not getting so much variance that it doesn't seal. You're still able to get that.
Yeah. So with slip casting, you can eliminate a lot of those variables because like if you throw on the wheel or hand build something out of clay, the water content is going to make a lot of difference in how much it shrinks, right? So like if I hand built something with threads on it, or use the wheel to make threads, and then I used another piece to make the cap, if those aren't the same water content, they're going to shrink a little bit different, and that's going to make a big difference on the threads. Where I'm slip casting it, the water content doesn't matter so much because the plaster molds that you use to create it are just absorbing that moisture out anyways. And so it's going to be like exactly the same water content when you cast it. It's very technical. They say ceramics is like rocket science, only more math.
That must be why I suck at it. No talent, and I'm really bad at math.
It's a lot. People always think like, oh, I'm going to do ceramics, I don't want how to do anything too complicated. It's very like it can almost be as complicated as you want it to be, like, and get down to like molecular structures of different materials in your clay and things like that. So it can definitely be complicated, but it can also be easy. You can buy your clay, you know, pre-mixed and dump it in the mold and go from there.
And so what do you have coming out on the horizon? What's new that you're working on that you can talk about?
So I have some new things coming out, some new labels I'm working on that are Tiki related, and then I have a new mug coming out that I don't want to give away too much, but it's going to be really cool, I think. And so I'm kind of excited about those things, but a lot of it is going to be new labels. And one thing I want to say too is my shop is actually open right now. So how I do my sales is usually I make a bunch of work, and then like once a month I'll like open my shop for like a drop, and they usually sell out pretty quick. But right now what I'm actually retiring like almost all of my labels because my website is just so full of different options. And so I'm retiring almost all of them. So right now I'm doing just pre-order, and it's just open for the next 2 weeks. And just to give everyone a fair chance to get it, because I always get all the emails afterwards. I missed the sale. So right now, I have 2 Tiki options on there right now for, you can get it in this form, which is like, it can be an olive oil decanter, or, you know, alcohol, whatever you want to dispense with that soap too. And then this form, the Tiki, is like a tumbler, 16-ounce tumbler, and then not this shaped flask, but a little bit different shaped flask. I have it on there too. But yeah, I'm just working on some new labels to add to those different forms right now, and then some actually brand new forms that are more Tiki related, or actually completely in the Tiki style. So,
well, with my bar and Tiki bars with different themes, mine is going to have an abandoned old place feel to it. I'm not going to go too much into it. So as I'm looking at your stuff, I'm going, oh my gosh, this would be amazing, because stuff that gets left behind, would be the oil cans and some of these other things like you've done. So this is amazing. I think it fits, certainly. I don't know, it fits in any tiki bar if you ask me, because it's well done art. It's amazing stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
So you're designing both the label as well as the vessel that it's going to go on to, right?
Yeah, so I create the forms usually out of clay or plaster or something, and then I make a mold of those, and that's like how I make my form. And then the labels, I usually draw inspiration from actual cans, but then I have to remake it all on the computer to fit my specifications for my can and colors and things like that. So yeah, I design everything sometimes based on real ones, but sometimes I just make them up completely too. But and actually I'm making a label for Inside Passage in Seattle right now, so they're going to have some of my pieces soon too.
Oh, very nice. Okay, and I have to ask, because the first thing I saw when I went to your Instagram page were the ceramic bolts. What is it what do people do with those ceramic bolts?
Those are pipes.
Oh, those are pipes. Okay.
They're for smoking whatever is legal in your state.
Nice. Yeah, I'm looking at that going, what the heck? What? That's really cool that you make those out of ceramic. Yeah, I can't believe those. Now, do they work? Do they thread all the way through?
They thread just the cap on, so it's kind of like it threads on, so you can like save it for later, or yeah.
Nice. Well, man, and again, I think that hits into the tiki realm as well.
Your book, can I say something? Dude, your book is great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Like, it's really concise and to the point. I got a question. First of all, is the ceramic printer something that I could afford, or is it like something you have to send away to, Vista Pottery or something?
Well, I think right now they're like 7,000 or 8,000.
Okay. Are there companies that do that? Like, can I send off to like a Vista Ceramic kind of thing?
Oh, like to have them print your decals?
Do you know?
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Like,
is that service available? Do you know?
Yeah. So there's like Milestone Decal Art and Enduring Images. Both of them will print custom decals for anybody.
And also, do you use like a porcelain slip?
Yeah. Yep. I use a slip from Laguna.
Does it make it easier for the threads because there isn't the kind of, grid in there?
I've used it for a ton of different clays, and I've had people use way different clays. I've had people wood fire my pieces and use different, like a wood firing clay, and fire in the wood kiln even, and it works. So it's pretty precise regardless of what clay you use.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that about my book, because I actually designed all of that. I learned how to do like Adobe InDesign, and like I took every photograph and I did everything to make that book myself, and it was a lot of work. So
what I like about it is it's really concise. Like, it doesn't give a lot of, like, you don't have to skip through chapters to get to what you need. So yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So we have all of your information in the chat, your Instagram, your link tree, which takes out to multiple things, including your site. I've got the shop up right now, and I'm going to be buying some of the Kodachrome. I'm a photographer from way back in the day, and I probably have used similar things back in the day. So yeah, those really, that one's the one that caught me. It's like, oh my gosh. But just to look at what you're doing and the style of what you're doing is so different. So keep it up, man. It's awesome. I can't wait to see what more you've got coming out, especially this tiki stuff that you're teasing us about.
Yeah, it'll be cool. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll be able to kind of see the progress of it and first looks. So
very nice. Well, we've got that on here. Mitchel Spain Ceramics on Instagram, as well as, like I said, all the links to your website and whatnot. So thank you very much for joining us, man. This was incredible.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Tiki Trail Live.